The Center for Disease Control is now reporting 64 cases of the H1N1 or swine flu virus in the United States. Air Force Master Sergeant George Maurer has the very latest on government efforts to prevent further spread of the virus and protect military readiness.
Officials from the Centers of Disease Control call influenza very unpredictable. They say they're monitoring the situation very closely and responding aggressively where they can.
I think we really need to be prepared for a worsening of the situation. And it's also important that people realize it's more of a marathon than a sprint here.
The CDC is one of the lead agencies on the outbreak. Defense leaders say the DoD has not been asked to provide assistance at this time. However, Jeff Morrell, Pentagon spokesman, told reporters on Tuesday the Defense Department is monitoring the situation, and he added the top obligation of the DoD right now is to protect the health of all members of the military.
The country at all times requires a healthy and capable fighting force. And so we have contingencies in place to make sure that we have enough antibiotics on hand to treat all members of our military so that they can maintain their health should they be called upon.
The Defense Department stockpiles millions of doses of anti-flu medications such as Tamiflu and Relenza, and both are normally used for routine flu vaccinations and prevention, according to defense officials, and they say both are effective against swine flu as well. Mr. Morrell said NORTHCOM will be the lead agency if the Defense Department is called upon, and he says NORTHCOM is well prepared for a situation just like this. Reporting from the Pentagon, I'm Air Force Master Sergeant George Maurer.
In the meantime, Monday's photo opportunity involving Air Force One above Manhattan is being characterized as a mishandled and misguided mission by Pentagon Press Secretary Jeff Morrell. The incident involved the presidential aircraft escorted by an F-16 fighter jet flying over New York City. Onlookers there said they were reminded of the September 11th terror attacks. Mr. Morrell said although the White House military office is taking full responsibility, the DoD was involved.
There clearly were people in this building who had some sort of advance notification about this. In retrospect, would we have liked somebody to raise their hand and say this is not a good idea? Absolutely, we would have preferred that.
Mr. Morrell said Secretary Gates was not told in advance about the flight. Well, the commander of U.S. Central Command told an audience at Kansas State University Monday that the challenges facing the U.S. and her allies in Afghanistan are even more daunting than those in Iraq. General David Petraeus said that although many of the counterinsurgency strategies worked in Iraq, they're going to need to be modified to be successful in Afghanistan.
Afghanistan is, after all, larger and more rural than Iraq and has much more rugged terrain and a harsher climate. Afghanistan has considerably less human capital and far lower literacy rates than Iraq, and it has less natural resources as well.
General Petraeus also noted that total revenue generation in Afghanistan is significantly lower than that in Iraq, and that Afghanistan has very little infrastructure by which the government can deliver basic essential services. And for the latest on operations in Afghanistan and Iraq, check out our new show, Downrange, right here on the Pentagon Channel. And coming up next here on Around the Services, pledging allegiance, service members raise their right hands while serving in the Philippines, becoming among the newest U.S. citizens. But first, Mother Nature devastates an island's water supply, how airmen are keeping fresh water flowing. Stay right there. Sergeant Ashley Bryant is back with more.